After the Bronze Age system collapsed and plunged the world into darkness, what incredible shift allowed a new generation of empires to build the iconic marvels we still call the Seven Wonders of the World? More about that in this video.
In Part 2, we watched as the ancient world of the Bronze Age, with its towering palaces and sophisticated trade networks, shattered into fragments. The mystery of the sea peoples, famine, and widespread destruction brought a glorious era to a dramatic, chaotic end. But from the ashes of collapsed kingdoms, a new, harder material emerged: the iron. Iron, more abundant and accessible than bronze, revolutionized tools, farming, and, most importantly, warfare, serving as the foundational element for the new, widespread empires of the forthcoming Iron Age. The Trojan War is the legendary conflict between the Achaeans and the city of Troy, traditionally dated to the 12th or 13th century BCE, placing it right at the end of the Bronze Age. The war was said to have lasted years and ended with the sack of Troy, achieved by the Achaeans' use of the Trojan horse, ultimately leading to Troy's destruction.
The Neo-Assyrian Empire rose from the chaos during the early Iron Age. The Assyrian Empire was incredibly powerful, establishing itself as the strongest military force of its time, ruling over the largest empire the world had yet seen. This power stemmed from a technologically advanced military using iron weapons, sophisticated siege warfare with siege engines, well-organized army with specialized units. The empire's power was also maintained through a sophisticated infrastructure of Rhodes, a system of tribute collection, and the use of terror, torture, and forced deportations to control its vast territories, from Mesopotamia to Egypt and beyond. The Greek Archaic period, in 700 BCE, is famous for the establishment of the Greek city-states, a revolution in trade and coinage, the widespread adoption of the alphabet, and major developments in art and architecture, including monumental sculpture and the foundational Doric and Ionic architectural orders. According to Roman legend, the city was established in 753 BCE by the twin brothers Romulus and Remus, descendants of the Trojan hero Aeneas. Archaeological evidence suggests the settlement began as a cluster of small Latin villages on the Palatine Hill, which gradually unified to form the city. One of the seven wonders of the ancient world, the Hanging Gardens were legendary terraced structures in ancient Babylon, famed for their towering, lush greenery. Credited to King Nebuchadnezzar II, their existence is debated by historians, as definitive archaeological evidence remains elusive. In approximately 560 BC, Buddhism was founded by an Indian prince who renounced his wealth, Siddhartha Gautama. After achieving enlightenment, he became known as the Buddha, the awakened teacher. His teachings centered on escaping suffering via the Four Noble Truths. Around the same period in China, Kongzi, Confucius, and Laozi were foundational Chinese philosophers. Kongzi advocated for social harmony through ethics, respect, and filial piety. Laozi is credited with writing the Tao Te Ching, inspiring Taoism, which emphasizes living simply and spontaneously in accord with the Tao. The Persian Empire, often cited as the world's first charter of human rights, it is renowned for its policies of equity, tolerance, and just treatment of its subjects, especially when contrasted with the practices of previous conquerors like the Neo-Babylonians and Assyrians. After conquering Babylon in 539 BCE, Cyrus the Great freed the Jewish people who had been held captive by the Neo-Babylonians, allowed them to return to Jerusalem, and helped fund the rebuilding of their temple. The Temple of Artemis was a magnificent structure and one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. Dedicated to the Greek goddess of the hunt, it was destroyed and rebuilt multiple times. Most famously, it was intentionally burned down in 356 BCE by Herostratus. The Roman Republic was one of the earliest forms of representative democracy, with a mixed government incorporating elements of aristocracy and democracy rather than a monarchy. The widespread use of Latin during the Republic spread its influence, and the establishment of the 12 Tables created a standardized legal code that influenced future legal systems.
This is Sparta! Oops, sorry, I can't help but say it.
The Greco-Persian Wars was a series of wars fought by Greek states and Persia over a period of almost half a century. Among there were the Battle of Thermopylae, whereby a small force of Spartans and Greek allies fought against the massive invading Persian army of Xerxes. Though the Greeks were defeated, their heroic stand at the narrow pass provided crucial time for Athens and inspired resistance. Plato was a classical ancient Greek philosopher and is considered a foundational figure in Western philosophy. He established the Academy in Athens, one of the first institutions of higher learning, and is renowned for his philosophical works, which often appear as dialogues and explore themes such as ethics, metaphysics, and political philosophy. This served as a model for later Western universities. The statue of Zeus at Olympia was a magnificent gold and ivory sculpture crafted by Phidias around 435 BCE for the Temple of Zeus. As one of the seven wonders of the ancient world, this colossal seated figure defined the image of the chief Greek god for centuries until its destruction. Petra is an ancient city in modern-day Jordan, famously known as the Rose City for the color of the sandstone cliffs into which it is carved. It was the capital city of the Nabatean Kingdom, a nomadic Arab tribe who settled there. Petra is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the new seven wonders of the world. The Mausoleum of Halicarnassus was the elaborate tomb built for the Persian satrap Mausolus and his wife Artemisia II. Its immense size and beauty earned it a place among the seven wonders of the ancient world. The structure was largely destroyed by earthquakes in the late Middle Ages. Alexander the Great, a Macedonian king, successfully conquered the Persian Empire, uniting Greek, Egyptian, Persian cultures, and expanded his rule far into India. He is considered one of history's greatest military strategists, noted for never losing a battle and for leading his troops from the front lines. The Colossus of Rhodes was a colossal bronze statue of the sun god Helios, built around 290 BCE to celebrate the island's military victory. Recognized as one of the seven wonders of the ancient world, it stood for only 5 decades before being toppled by an earthquake. Also, another seven wonders of the ancient world that eventually destroyed by the earthquakes, there were the Lighthouse of Alexandria, completed 280 BCE. It was an immense tower on the island of Pharos in Egypt. Built to guide sailors, it was one of the tallest structures for centuries. Year 221 BCE in China, Qin Shi Huang became the first emperor of a unified China, ending the Warring States period. He standardized currency and writing, commissioned the terracotta army for his tomb, and establishing China's imperial system. He also ordered the connection and fortification of existing regional walls into a single, massive defensive barrier against nomadic tribes from the north. Although little of his original construction remains, this effort marked the foundation of the structure known today as the Great Wall of China. Despite the fact that he's done so many, Qin Shi Huang ruled unified China for only 11 years. Following his death, the Qin dynasty quickly collapsed. A mere 4 years later, the more stable and enduring Han Dynasty was established. The Han Dynasty later officially opened the Silk Road. The network of trade routes facilitated the massive exchange of goods, especially silk, culture, and technology between China, Central Asia, and the West for centuries. Back into Rome, following the assassination of Julius Caesar, a dictator labeled a tyrant, a period of civil war gave way to the rise of Augustus Caesar. Unlike Julius, Augustus carefully avoided the title of king and the use of a monarchical crown. He preferred the symbolic authority of princeps, first citizen, and was frequently awarded the civic crown of oak leaves, which symbolized his role as savior of Roman citizens. Under his rule, Rome ushered in a long period of peace and prosperity. Jesus Christ, or Jesus of Nazareth, is the central figure of Christianity. Born in Bethlehem, c. 6 to 4 BCE, he is considered by Christians to be the Son of God and the Messiah, who offered himself as a sacrifice to defeat sin and bring everlasting life. His teachings of love and redemption, his crucifixion, and his believed resurrection profoundly shaped Western civilization and global religion. The Colosseum is built around 80 CE by the Flavian emperors. This massive stone and concrete amphitheater could host over 50,000 Roman citizens, used for 4 centuries for brutal gladiator contests and spectacles. Though partially ruined, it remains an iconic symbol of imperial Rome. From 220 to 280 CE, the fall of the Han Dynasty plunged China into the chaotic Three Kingdoms period, where the states of Wei, Shu, and Wu fought for dominance. This brief era, rich with legendary heroes and strategic conflict, is most famous for inspiring the novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms. During the migration period, Germanic tribes migrated and invaded the weakened Roman Empire, ultimately leading to the collapse of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD and the emergence of new Germanic successor states and kingdoms. The collapse of the Western Roman Empire ultimately led to the Dark Ages, which lasting for 900 years. It has been called Dark Ages because the period saw little scientific and cultural advancement. If you've journeyed with us this far, give this video a like and subscribe to join our next grand historical tour in the Middle Ages. Thanks for watching, and see you again in the Pixel Chronicle.